Hello, hello, hello. Testing, testing, testing. Let me know if you guys can hear this. Yep. Hello, hello. Okay, okay, okay. Welcome back to another episode of the JSPEAK Late Night Show. Thank you so much for stopping by. JSPEAK Late Night Show, I've said this before, and I'll try to say it a few different ways. So here's the new way to say it. The JSPEAK Late Night Show is as if me and you, after a long day of work, were sitting next to each other talking and asking just how each other's day and week is going, and just trying to maintain so that way there might be something that you missed us do, and this show encapsulates all the highlights in a really funny, I think, magical way. So that way, it's sort of like if you were asking me how my day or week was going, I just give you the full spiel. And basically, it's all centered around content creation, trying to create better blueprints is something that I find myself doing a lot for content creators in the crypto Web3 space. There is sort of this, and I always look for kind of these extremes, because there is this extreme of really dry, bland educational content, and then there's this extreme of just subpar content that isn't very informative or doesn't really help anybody figure out what's actually going on. And sometimes actually is a distraction from what truly is going on. So I think there's this middle ground where content creators that maybe take money from projects in the crypto space that they don't really want to take money from for sponsorships do. And it's because maybe they're not entertaining enough to get views by themselves. And what I want to do is try to change that so that way there's new formats and blueprints for creatives to create content. So this is a way to do it, is make an entertaining show documenting all the things that happen, because there's a lot of stuff that is hilarious that goes on behind the scene. In fact, I would argue that one of the reasons why I believe a show like this will be successful is because people in the world are nuts. And there's plenty of crazy people online, actually. So that makes it very easy for me to exploit their craziness and make content out of it so we can all laugh at them. And I think that's a good thing to do. No, I'm just kidding, guys. Okay. What I guess it's more like is, instead of exploiting crazy people, how I like to frame it, or phrase it at least, it's more like, I think I'm crazy. I think there's a lot of crazy people I interact with, and putting that all out there for you is hilarious. So we'll talk about the half-Greek god Hermes. We'll talk about my interactions with mimom, and Rito's kind of making some sideways comments towards mimom I said on Twitter. We'll break down some of that drama. We'll be talking about a comment from someone from Radix on a video I did, which I am flattered by, but also didn't like there is a deeper meaning in that video that maybe was missed, so I want to talk about Radix a little bit. There's some, Pavia sort of playground action that highlights a bigger thing than just Pavia in the ecosystem. It highlights the Ape Society, which we did. So nonetheless, let's get into the late night show. This is going to be a fun one. There's a lot of other stuff that I'm not touching on yet. So let's go here and rattle off some things. Okay. Now, first off, I'm just going to pause the recording. Oop. Okay, so Hermes Advocado 9491 says, on my Radix video, which I just published, right? This one. He says, and hopefully you guys can see this. So he basically says, I like the dating themed mentioned. So there was a dating theme around Radix where I mentioned if you were to never see a girl and you were texting her online, then how do you know that it's a girl, or how do you know that it's the thing that it says it is? It can send you pictures, it can say all these nice things, but with AI, and even without AI taking other people's IP, that girl that you're texting could literally be a guy or some other type of species even. It could be anything, really. It could be a robot. It could be all sorts of software. So what I was trying to say to in this video was that though the paper on Cerberus makes sense, the infographics make sense, the math adds up. Seeing that rocket fly versus seeing the math of how that rocket's going to reach Mars are two different events. Going from Cassie or Cassandra to, Babylon, let's say, to Zion or Zing, however you pronounce it, which are let's just call it the phase of the mainnet, right? I think that's a good way to say it. So the mainnet is getting upgraded. Right now it's in this Cassandra phase, then it will go to Babylon, then it will go to Zion. I believe I've said that in the right order with Cassandra, which is abbreviated from Alexandria or Alexandria. You can go on to the Radix website. So once we get the Radix wallet, which there's a tweet I'm going to show you about Apple approving it, which is a pretty big deal, I thought. So now it's in the App Store, the Radix mobile wallet. Once we see all these projects that have had 5-minute interviews on the, the Radix YouTube channel, right? That is the moment where Babylon becomes now a real girl that you're seeing in real life, that you've been texting, that you took a chance on because maybe it's online dating and maybe you're, I don't know, in this generation where that's how everybody meets. Nobody meets in real life anymore. Everybody meets online or maybe eventually in the metaverse. So nonetheless, all I'm trying to say is, okay, you have this idea of something. It's clearly articulated, but now we want to see it. And that's what is the importance of watching. That's why the thumbnail, though I did add a little clickbait sizzle, I said, we find out soon. Radix XRD is going to change DeFi forever in quotes. That's what all the Radix people, RDX Works, are. That's their brand, is that they're going to make DeFi accessible and good so that way you can tell your grandma to go and use it. And you're feeling good about it, or your friends, and you're not going to feel like you scammed them. By telling them to go and use DeFi and then they lose 20 grand. So, and we've all been there. Okay, we've all been there where we've told someone to get into crypto and then they get in and it's like too early or something. And it's not like good for you because your reputation looks kind of rough. And we're really just excited about it. And maybe even your intent when telling that person wasn't bad. It was like, hey, this new technology is very early. It's going to be here in 10 years. But maybe they just didn't take that tone and they took a different tone. They got all excited about it. Thought it would be the next unicorn tomorrow, got in. So their whole thing is about being able to tell your friends about DeFi and be proud that you did, right? So I got to upload more shorts. So anyways, he said, because I was asking if there's a good show title for Radix episodes from now on. So he said, I like the dating theme you mentioned. Maybe a play on that for the title could be cool. XDPS. Cool to see, cool to see how you seemingly really know yourself well and stick with it. Follow through on your beliefs and values. That's pretty deep, man. You know, I would say this, like, yeah, man, I think I'm pretty comfortable with myself. I don't think everybody else will be comfortable with myself. And that's kind of how I go through life, really. It's like, yeah, I know myself, I'm comfortable with it, man, but it's crazy. And sometimes that craziness just rubs people the wrong way, I guess, which I'm empathetic towards, but that's okay. And I don't really judge other people's interests and stuff. You know, you can be into pretty much anything, and I hope that goes well for you. I sort of detach from trying to control other people or other people's free will. So I just don't judge people because I don't think any of us really know what's going on most of the time. Thanks, Hermes, for tuning in and the feedback. I appreciate the kind words from a half-Greek god like yourself, mate. So that's what I told him because his actual bio says that. Half-Greek god, and then he's half-large berry. So it depends what type of berry we're talking about, obviously, but it's got to be a good one. Advocate for Radix. Decentralized ledger technology optimized for DeFi, scaling, so yada, yada. And he actually made a cool tweet here. So this is where I learned that the Cassandra thing. So if you want to have a drive down memory lane, explore the hashtag Flexathon. This was the name of Fuseliers, and that's, by the way, somebody that if you haven't followed, you should, because he is a legend, one of the only people that I know that didn't have a PhD and got this consensus mechanism accepted into a peer-reviewed journal. It's the Journal of Systems, JSIS is what it's abbreviated towards. I covered it in the last video, so you can go look. This is Dan Hughes. Did a great video talking about Cerberus and talking about Cassandra at the tail end of that video with peers. So this was the name of Dan Hughes' exploration to implement fully sharded Cerberus. So this is a cool hashtag to actually look into that. So Hermes must have been in Radix for a while, and he is half Greek god. And Hermes, obviously, it's a legendary, IP. Hermes is a legendary IP. Depending on how far you want to go down the rabbit hole, maybe you got some of that, maybe you got some of those Thoth correlations to Hermes. And Thoth is another IP, underrated IP. I guarantee you Thoth will be a bigger IP as we go, as we move forward here. And yeah, man, all those IPs are legends. Like they've stood the test of time. So Half God reaching out, saying that, it's really nice. And the other thing too that he said is, you're right, man. Always got something snappy as a response. I will say not always. I try to have something ready. I've been in a lot of situations. You know where that comes from? I've been in a lot of situations where I've needed to have something quick to say. That's how I got that ability. I've been in a lot of situations where if you're not quick, if you're not able to say something really quick, you're going to get forgotten about and left behind and roasted, and you're not going to be, respected. So you got to have something quick to say sometimes. And I've been in a lot of situations where I've had to have something quick. So I try to have it. Not always, though. Hermes, and I also said to him this because I hope this wasn't controversial. I think we all agree on this, but you ever have a gyro So a gyro is like this Greek sandwich, but it's done in a really nice way where everything is very tasty. And gyros were a good call. By the way, if that was you, I was just shouting out the half Greek god Hermes in case the half Greek god sent some little thought to some baker to make a gyro, or maybe that's where it came from. Who knows? Hermes delivery service gets your gyros at your front door before you can say radvocado. So I don't see them. Hermes, where are my gyros? I've said radvocado a million times since I read this comment 12 hours ago, and I haven't seen them. This is a false claim. I am waiting for my gyros, so I will update you. Just kidding. Thanks, Hermes. As always, man, a lot of fun. Okay, I'll save this towards the end because this was the anime war I got into with a bunch of anime people. All right, we'll go grilled cheese next. So you can judge a culture by its cheese. Now, I knew this wouldn't be popular. I knew American cheese. America is like the bad guy in a lot of places still, especially in crypto. We're like the, and granted, a lot of it's fair, okay? But you got to remember that like America's institutions that maybe you don't trust, or I don't know, our foreign policies and our foreign relations policies and maybe certain regulatory, I don't know, oversteps or overreaches that we try to impose globally, and maybe the way that we handle our status as the reserve currency and just kind of ship off inflation. I get it. Okay, there's a lot of reasons to attack America and American cheese. So I wanted to be a contrarian and take an argument and make a case for American cheese being a positive for judging a culture by its cheese. So I already got somebody saying something to try to, kind of pry under, almost like you're taking off a shingle of a house. If you don't know what a shingle is, Google it, shingles. If you're taking that shingle off and you're prying it off, it's like they're trying to pry up my argument by attacking its premise. So I actually did have to go back and forth. So I just said I make a case for American cheese to rival the more refined, sophisticated cheeses out there, because there's a lot to compete with. I don't know how long Italy or France have been at this game, but longer than we have. Okay, we were just taking tea and we were kind of climbing aboard these British ships and pouring tea into the Boston Harbor like 200 years ago or something. So we haven't been at this game too long, and sure, maybe we're a little more barbaric with our cheese. However, okay, if you've ever been to a friend's house and their mom, when you were growing up, was like a good mom, like just like a good mom, just knew how to make a like a grilled cheese, like with maybe a little olive oil at the right temperature so it's crispy but melted, and maybe they serve it with some kind of ice cold beverage, right? And when you were a kid and you were playing outside with your friend, but then your friend's just like quality amazing mother just yells and says, "Hey, I made you guys grilled cheeses." And you had that grilled cheese, and you told your friend's mother that it was the greatest thing for some reason that you've ever had in that moment. If you've ever had that experience, then you've experienced one of the reasons why I think this has an argument. It's not about the cheese, man. It's about the love and the comfort of taking that bite of a grilled cheese, okay? And this is the second JSPEAK late night show with a scarf. So you are correct. We are rocking scarves while we do the late night show, at least for a little bit. All right. Let me just pull the hair all the way back here because we're getting into it. For example, in a hot grilled cheese sandwich, this sandwich will rob you of your, I don't know why I wrote ad copy for this because I'm not a project. I don't sell grilled cheeses, but I probably could. This sandwich will rob you of your worries and liberate your concerns with every bite. Also, one of our more tasty and affordable options, American cheese, maybe processed, maybe low caliber, but at least it's cheap. You know, you can make, and this is where the shingle was tried to be taken off. I did some R&D in like 2 seconds and found that my intuition was accurate, leading me the right way with this argument. So let's figure out this. You know, you can make grilled cheese, and thank you, Ben Triptech. I appreciate you chiming in and trying to, you know, unplug my shingle here on my grilled cheese argument. I do appreciate it because it's peer reviewing it. Peer reviewing it. You know, you can make grilled cheese with other cheese as well, right? The key is the cooking method, not the cheese slice. That's a bold statement because sometimes the cheese slice is the reason why it's so asymmetric. The way that those perfect cheese packs, and I'm not like a big American cheese, you know, advocate. Okay. The last time I had a grilled cheese was probably at a friend's house with like a quality mom that made it for us, right? I had a buddy who had a dad that made a mean grilled cheese though too. So it's not just exclusive here. Okay. There was one case where my buddy's dad made an incredible grilled cheese. So it's not exclusive to gender. So UK and France have a proud tradition. The UK is always trying to just kind of, hey man, you know, all you guys kind of caved from us. So we're still holding your IP of your grilled cheeses. And it's just not the case, guys. Look at this. Although the idea of putting bread and cheese together has been around since ancient times, the genius of making the grilled cheese we know and love was thought to have originated in the United States during the 1920s. And that makes sense. And I guarantee you when it really picked up was the late 1920s, early 30s. And the reason why was because it's a scrappy sandwich. It's an easy sandwich to make. It's a hard sandwich to make wrong. At the time, loaves of bread were inexpensive and processed cheese had gained popularity, becoming readily available to the people. And there's a source where this whole paragraph is literally from talking about the history of grilled cheeses. So I bring this to you because this is a poetic statement I'm trying to make here. Okay. Yes. All right. You can judge a culture by its cheese. However, love is in the eye of the beholder. When you bite into a grilled cheese made by your friend's, you know, quality mom, all your fears and worries and stresses kind of go away and you can actually relax for a second. Everything is okay. So there's something about that that's kind of freeing, but it's not freeing in the standpoint of like fight for liberty or die. It's freeing in the standpoint of just for 1 second, you feel like everything is okay. And I think there are, you know, some cultural takeaways there. And it's not everybody, because a culture, right, is kind of like, you know, tries to label everybody under the same thing. But there are people out there that can make an amazing sandwich out of very simple, inexpensive ingredients that does a better job than your fancy, smancy cheese from France or Italy that's been aged and, you know, no one has touched for years and years in this hyperbolic time chamber that you build just to age cheese. Well, I would take a grilled cheese from my friend's mom over something like that most of the time. Sometimes I'll go for the fanciest cheese because I want to see what it tastes like. I want to see what I'm missing. But most of the time. Okay. Great site on Radix. It's called wiki.radixdb. I will be talking about it in the future. And by the way, the reason why I did all my Radix stuff up front is because I have a hunch that not all of the people that watch my Radix videos actually know that I make other videos. So what I want to do is see if any of the people that I mentioned, like Hermes or people that I mentioned later, will see this and will comment without me tagging them? And if not, then if you know these people, then you should let them know that I covered the update and it was fun and they were mentioned. And I want to see if they see it. You know what I mean? So I want to test the might of the JSPEAK YouTube channel's reach. You know, I want to test the might that we have of a network effect as a conductor in this broader network, I guess, of Web3. I want to see if I can reach people through people sometimes, which sounds crazy, but sometimes it's the best way to do it. So I'll be doing more of this in another update. I just wanted to tell you about it. There's a lot of cool stuff though. Okay, so I spoke too soon last late night show. I was all high and mighty because the last late night show I was talking about Metaverse Monday. Now, this was my most recent, but the one before this one, I got like 444 listens. And it was only an hour and only 20 people came. This Metaverse Monday was a quality show. Lots of fun. There was a guy that came in and was talking about being bald, and you know, shout out to Chad. That was Chad talking about that, and he was saying that we're all going to be bald eventually. I was thinking about it, and I don't believe that for a second. I think that with modern day technologies, we all can have the choice. Like, you can Google for 10 seconds how not to be bald, and you can probably get some implants. So I'll probably do that one day, but I am going to rock my lettuce today while I have it. And there was a lot of crypto and metaverse content. We were talking about Clay Nation. We were talking about this and that and that and this. And only 18 people actually played this one back. So maybe the playbacks aren't as big as I thought. But I also didn't put this under any hashtags for some reason. And I changed the title from Metaverse Monday to Metaverse Monday Open Mic, 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. So every Metaverse Monday, I've been tweaking the time too. So we don't have that consistent push in the algorithm, it looks like. But the last Metaverse Monday I did, I started a little bit later and we got a bunch of playbacks. So maybe the trick is actually in the trade of when you start the show. I don't know. Just wanted to share that data. Metaverse Monday is quickly becoming a hotly talked about space where people are asking me lots of questions. They're asking me to make sure I always record them. However, we're testing a lot of stuff, so it's not got its full swing yet at that. It's hitting at about 25%, but just wait. There will be some cool things that I think we do with it. And a lot of the time, I just actually meet people that I've met in the metaverse on Metaverse Monday. So we're thinking of ways to pull Metaverse Monday, the Twitter space, into the metaverse. Okay, quick break, and then I'll be back. Okay, so this is how I make, I think I'm going to continue to do this way. I don't think people could copy this. So basically what I do for these Pavia Explorer episodes, right, which I've done a few now. So here's episode, which one was this? Yeah, this was episode 4. So essentially how I do this is I think it's so funny. I really do. Because in a way, it's so unique, and it's only because of, I think, well, how should I say this? Okay. So essentially, Pavia Explorers is a show that I believe is good for everybody. It's a new type of content for content creators in crypto without feeling like they're too, I don't know, just kind of like shilly is the word that I look for. And I get it. When investors come in and they just want to see a demo of something or a quick read about it, That's great, but that's not for you. I'm going to give you a real look of what it feels like for users to interact and use something. So, and I'll be honest, I'll try to do my best, right? So, because I think that's actually the better data. I think that's the better data. Okay. So I tweeted out in the morning time, anyone around to make content in the playground this morning and meet up with me, thinking within the next couple of hours. Of course, this is a fun thing because Pavia has new things to look at almost every week in the playground. Okay. And they do have their MechPob mint coming up. I don't know any details on it yet, so I'm waiting for those. So that's something that I kind of want to know more about. So I'm hoping for more details. So anyways, you shift past like a few hours, we all go in, okay? Me, Token Jokin, Joby, and Ritos, okay? I make a whole video about it, right? And then mimom says, by the way, in our last episode, we had mimom on, who's a 3D modeler, a builder, can tell you how it really is to build inside Pavia, because most of the stuff in the playground was built by him. So don't forget that. So, and I'm about to release the new one that I recorded yesterday on YouTube, but that's episode 5. Episode 4 was with mimom and Ritos of Pavia Explorers. So mimom could not join this one, right? So, and in the last JSPEAK late night show, I did say that I wanted to manifest mimom as our next guest, or I said that recently. I don't know if it was the last JSPEAK late night show, but it was in a recent video that I posted. I was like, I would really like to manifest mimom. What people don't know is me and mimom went in for an hour and recorded ourselves, but his mic was cutting out so bad that I couldn't post the audio. So we did 2 episodes. There was one that the public will never see, where he's talking about all these different builds that he made and his experiences, and it was an amazing show, but you'll never see it. You might see it. I'll try to do something with it. You might see it. I'll try to make that happen, just because when people are interested in the metaverse, what they find out eventually is if it's an open world metaverse, they're going to want to maybe deploy something onto it. Think about your virtual digital twin of your business idea, whatever. Immersive 3D DApp for an NFT marketplace, right? Where everything's 3D modeled and you buy it there and you see it there. Whatever. You're going to have to build that in 3D. So you're going to have to build that in Blender, Unity. You're going to learn about FBX files and GLTFs and GLBs. You're going to learn about that. Well, he's the guy that you go to when you're at that stage in metaverse researching. He's the guy that you go to and you say, maybe you want something built for you, but also modified as new tech comes out and new gameplay features come out so you can actually make stuff work differently. The game logic gets added in to a 3D asset. He's the guy that people hire to build that stuff. So a lot of people have hired him. A lot of projects have hired him. And this was an Ape Society family, Maddocks, that made this giant. The castle's so freaking big, man. It's so big that it blocks so it's right near the beach. So the beach is here. The castle is freaking huge, and the playground, you can see it from a mile away anywhere that you walk. And then there's houses behind the castle. So the houses behind the castle, I like to say, used to have ocean views at one point. But this castle is so big that any ocean views that the plots behind it had they've gotten obliterated. So we went in yesterday, and mimom couldn't come. He said, hope it was good, couldn't join today. And that's when I told him, I had to break it to him. Haha, oh man, mimom, Ritos was talking all sorts of smack about you, my guy. I documented it all for you in episode 5. He saw it. Ritos is in big trouble. And that's kind of in this tweet. Now, I have posted this tweet with the unlisted link to episode 5 of Pavia Explorers. But what I haven't done is I haven't actually made that public yet. So I'm going to do that after this video, and then I'll post this video after I make that public today. Okay, so Lucas said on Icon, so we're back to Cardano. Okay, so we're out of Radix, we're back to Cardano, and we may go back and forth here a little bit, but this was a really good point. So I retweeted it, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Lucas has all the reasons in the world right now to be high on his own supply with micro proofs, but this is kind of a leadership thing, right? This is kind of saying to the ecosystem, look, we get it. We were the ones that tried to bring this thing into existence. We appreciate the positive feedback on Icon, but let's not get ahead of our skis here. Let's not turn this into another overhyped, promise that doesn't actually live to the expectations. Let's just say what it does, and let's try to improve it every day. So he says, lots of love for Icon lately. Icon, by the way, it's given, so a lot of developers can learn Rust, can, develop in Rust, for example, but maybe they couldn't develop in Plutus, right? Maybe they can develop in some of these other languages, but they can't develop in Plutus. Well, what Icon was built with was Rust, and what it kind of is like, for developers, it's like you can learn how to use Icon in like 3 weeks for most developers. I think I've said this, and started actually making like smart contracts, developing smart contracts and developing dApps and things if you're already a developer. The speed at which you can build with Icon is much quicker. The safety of building with Icon is much better. And a lot of developers can use Icon, and when they first use it, they feel like it's familiar. They don't feel like they're using some alien tech. So it's had a lot of success, and a lot of the cooler dApps in the ecosystem are being built with Icon today in Cardano. It's been a huge thing because one of the, attacks or criticisms on Cardano was there's so much infrastructure still for developers to develop on Cardano there's not much tooling, and to develop that tooling, we got to learn this language that we're not really familiar with or used to. And it was like a long time since, smart contracts got released on Cardano that a lot of money and investment just went towards that infrastructure. So these guys decided to build Icon to make, it's super easy for developers to now build tools, infrastructure, and actually dApps in a way that feels very familiar to developers. So a lot of people are excited, but he says lots of love for Icon lately. It's sincerely appreciated. But don't be confused, because he says, but there's still lots to improve in Icon and across the ecosystem. We're not over the hill yet. Don't get cocky. I love this tweet from Lucas, and it's a good leadership remark on Lucas for sure. Because I've seen developers, maybe they weren't, I don't know, man. Like in this industry, you could tell when a developer just came straight out of like, I don't know, grad school or like another, I meant to say another company, were severely underappreciated. And then now they're being glorified in Web3 for a minute. They have a fan base and followers, and they're like an influencer in Web3 content and stuff. It's kind of a different shift, and I don't know if all the developers can handle it that well. Sometimes they probably don't. Sometimes they probably crack, but Lucas seems like he's got a lot of character, and I like to see him with micro proofs. I think that's a good blend. That's a good team right there. So I'll be watching them for years to come. Okay. So in the last Pavia Explorers, there was a moment where I thought that Elon's kid, Crypto Knight and Jay, was was, oh, I guess I can't find it right now. One sec. Let me pull this up for you. Okay, so here it is. So this is Violence No Regard. One time on a Metaverse Monday, they said thank the Sweetie J crypto using Jedi mind tricks to get back next Monday. Props. I think I said on the thing I thought this was them because Violence No Regard, who says in their bio, I love all the Cardano boys and girls, candy and bubblegum. There was a Violence in the Pavia playground yesterday, but they were AFK. And guess what? Right before I got in, I get this tweet saying, hey, to saying anyone around. So I think that Elon's kid, who is Crypto Knight, some really funny tweets and memes, sometimes can be a little bit risque, edgy, controversial even, but always for the memes, said, hey, so I sent him a hey, and then said, hey, G, what's up, essentially, with the hey. If you calculate this into the beginning before the G, you would say, hey, G, what up? Making a little pun. And then I was surprised to see that not Crypto Knight was inside the playground, but Violence was, and they were AFK, like they were almost after 30 minutes of waiting, just decided to boogie. So I mentioned all of this in the Pavia Explorers episode 5. So you'll hear all this, but I wanted to put some context out there. And I'm not sure who this is because they came up one time at the end of a Metaverse Monday, and I said, man, I'm tempted to continue the space, but I gotta go. And I had to end the space before I could hear. Ritos said that they ran into Violence one time in the playground, but they refused to speak. So that's why I think it could be maybe not this, which is some kind of thing, something, and it could be some dude maybe just trolling around a little bit. So great content though from Violence. So we'll see what happens. I don't know what to tell you. They say that they love Cardano boys and girls, candy and bubblegum. So I don't know more than that. I got into an anime war, got 168 likes on a tweet. I think I struck a nerve. If you didn't know, there's, $100 billion IPs being made in anime right now. And I guarantee you it's going to be so big because they're continuing all the old IPs that were really good, but just no one was interested at the time that I kind of grew up with. They started continuing Bleach again. If you don't know, Bleach was like, it ended when Ichigo got full bring. And, I had a bunch of stuff to do over there. But it's like a 300, 400 episode series, if I remember correctly. Now, One Piece is over 1,000 episodes, okay? One Piece is one of the biggest, most exciting, I think, like, fervent, has like one of the most biggest, exciting, fervent followings of all anime. And it's only getting bigger by the second. So there was kind of a controversy here because they were saying that they've never seen better ice users in any anime besides 2. Now, Toshiro is a captain in Bleach, so there's like 13 captains, yada, yada. He's a young captain. He can use ice, but he becomes kind of like at least up to date. Because I had to watch after this whole debate, and I said, is Toshiro really like one of the best ice users? I don't know. And even at the end of the current new episodes, he is captured and is there's a faction that the Soul Reapers have to fight called the Quincy's and whatnot. They have this chick who made him his like slave, like his like puppy dog. So I'm not gonna be riding on Toshiro's side for a bit here until he kind of figures that out and becomes good again. Because right now he's fighting for like the dark side, man, and he's being manipulated and controlled by the dark arts. Now, Rukia. Well, Rukia's only got 4 seconds on the clock before she gets so cold that she freezes to death. So I don't know. So I came in here challenging the status quo. A bunch of bleachers kind of came at me, and we had a lot of fun. And I made the argument that, you know, there is other ice users that are also pretty good besides, and one was the Logia Devil Fruit Eater, which was an admiral who essentially, if you shoot with a bullet, it's all good. His body turns to ice, so you can't really kill him there. He's kind of like an admiral, so he knows how to use this other spiritual force called hockey. And none of these guys' attack could hurt him. So, plus the IP of hockey is only owned by One Piece, and it's the only way to defeat somebody who eats a devil fruit. So therefore, unless Bleach's characters somehow acquire that IP through some licensing agreement, they're not going to be able to use hockey. They can use other things, but unless they can use hockey, they can never defeat him. So lots of things to think about there. Went back and forth, battled it out with a lot of Bleach gangers. And at the end of the day, there was a lot of people gunning for me, but you could smell the Bleach bias. You could kind of taste it a bit. There was a couple One Piecers that defended the Bleach characters, but nonetheless, I think we came to a resolution, and a tweet only gets 168 likes if a couple of people agree with it. I mean, come on. So in other news, though, if I go back to some of these, so Ben said someone sounds exciting. So again, I appreciate you, Ben, but I just, and I did tag Ben, so that's on me. But I want to reassure that people recognize, though I am excited to find out if Babylon is real. Just like I would be if I was in a long distance relationship with some, incredible person that I thought was the best, amazing thing in the entire world. I would want to see them in person. And I want to know that they exist. So that's why Babylon is kind of one of these key marks. Okay, let's check it off the thing. So I am excited, but I don't want this to get sounding like I'm trying to hype or bullish it, because I'm not trying to shill Radix to, frankly, anyone at all. I don't know why I would spend my time trying to do that. What I am trying to do is put out my logic as I come to understand Radix, and I got two people coming against that logic. I got people that are trying to find holes in that logic, and then that refines my own logic and understanding. So I like them, and they know I like them. That's like the whole peer review process, essentially. And then you got, on the other side, people from Radix making sure that I got all my details straight. So now I'm refining my knowledge on Radix, and even the differences when I first started researching between a badge and a persona were a little confusing to me. But then people from Radix started to chip and kind of chirp me for not doing my research. And then over the course of, I think, 12 or 13 videos of just covering Radix, doing some live streams of the reading of their consensus and talking about Scripto, the Radix engine, and still learning, I think that the result, though it wasn't the intention, is I am learning a lot about Radix very quickly and learning how to explain it. So I am a fan. I'm watching. I think it's got some really great ideas, some great concepts the industry can learn from. I want to see Babylon, so I don't want this to sound like someone sounds excited, woohoo, this is going to moon. I want it to be like, I'm excited to see the results. And I just wanted to get that, clear. But yeah, I appreciate you, Ben, because Ben also commented on another couple of Radix videos I did and said that he likes watching the journey of studying it. So then this was a funny music that I put at the beginning here while we look at the Maddocks castle. So you can watch that on YouTube or Twitter. And then Blockjock said that's badassery. I did put like almost that promo music at the beginning. It's really funny. So Piers Morgan said, like on Ledger GitHub, but built with royalties and security and inheritance as well. This feature is a hidden flywheel for the ecosystem. It's called Blueprints. This is something that I want to explain and look into a bit more. There was a great tweet, though, recently that I saw from Piers on Apple. And here it is. So this is what I actually meant to bring up before, but that's a good one on blueprints too that I was looking at. For those that don't know if this is a big deal, getting Apple approval to any kind of schedule, yeah, it's a big deal, especially for a brand new crypto wallet. This is all due to meticulous planning and execution. As you know, Babylon's coming up. That's when we're going to get the wallet. Now the wallet has been approved by Apple, which was a pretty big deal because that is, a huge thing. Most crypto users are iPhone users. I don't know if most are, but a good portion of us. This is all due to meticulous planning and execution. So hat tip to the whole wallet team. So we're watching that. Now I'm still watching Cardano and Radix. I'm watching the metaverse space. We're watching some other, culturally relevant things going on. And I'm trying to think if that's it. Let me just go back one more. Oh yeah, one more thing to mention here. And this is from last time when we were talking about what is a successful L1 on the JSPEAK late night show. This one though was one I just wanted to mention here. The Ape Society, which is definitely a top brand in Cardano NFTs by pretty much every metric, or most metrics. If you were asked which NFT projects are have a lot of engagement and are doing some really interesting things, a lot of people say the Ape Society in Cardano. So they just rebranded, I think it's pronounced SOS. I don't know how to pronounce it, but they rebranded their token from Society to SOS. I think this is going to be the same token. I don't think they're creating a brand new token for it. I think they just wanted to rebrand it. A lot of tickers in NASDAQ or, the New York Stock Exchange. All these tickers usually have 3 letters. Society is kind of a bit long, so I get it. But I also think this comes with a bit more of a modernism at play. SOS, I don't know what that could stand for yet. We're going to find out. It's all part 1 of the Renaissance, which is a 3-phase plan. And you can see that by going to their banner and looking. It says the Renaissance, a 3-part event. So this is part 1. They had a promo of it. So that's all I just kind of wanted to mention. This is the promo you can see. And that's kind of it for the late night show, folks. I don't really have much else to say. I just want to thank you for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed a little bit of that context behind the scenes stuff. A couple of funny things. Not sure if Violence and Kryptonite are the same person. I messaged Kryptonite after making those accusations, though. And I'll tell you what I said. I said, are my accusations false? Laughing emoji, something like that. Haven't got a response yet. Might be on to a lead here. Doesn't really matter, though, because I don't want to ruin the magic. It's just going to be like, if there is somebody having like a troll account or having fun or whatever, and they interact with me too much, sometimes I do kind of, even if I haven't been seemingly paying attention for months, sometimes I will kind of narrow in my gaze real quick and be like, okay, who are you? And what do you want? You know what I mean? And that's kind of when you get too close, I think. So anyways, it's all love. And I don't, care if it's Crypto Knight or if it's some other person from who knows, right? So that's what I would say. Just having fun. And that's the late night show. And we will be back next time that we have a late night to rift and talk about all these things. Take care and peace and have a great day.